Hey, this is Notser, and this is the Tier 9 German battleship, Friedrich der Große. She has 84,300 health, a top speed of 30 knots, 8 420mm guns, 28 secondary guns, a surface detect of 16.8 kilometers, and 84 AA defense rating. For my modules, reduced crit chance on main armament, improved secondary gun range, improved main battery rate of fire, reduced the chance of flood and fire, faster rudder shift, target acquisition. For my commander, basic survivability, expert marksman, superintendent, and advanced firing training. We are on the map Hotspot, and I want to take a break a little bit from the Japanese destroyer preview, and this is one of those ships that I just haven't looked at. I've been working my way up, fully unlocking it. It is now fully unlocked, ready to go. We are working on a commander. We don't quite have a high-skilled commander. Maybe 20 games, if that, in this ship. How is she? Well, it's an interesting ship. I've got the secondary gun range. I just don't have the manual secondary to benefit from the accuracy boost. AA protection seems to be pretty fair, and in this match, we are top tier. They are tier 8 aircraft carriers, so if the aircraft carrier ever tries to attack us, we've got one tier up on them. That's a huge advantage for any battleship to try and protect themselves. I'm headed forward. I sort of want to use this island in between A and B, and oh, looky there, an enemy New Orleans. Possibly trying to head for that little nook that exists on the northwest side of A. But in his endeavor, I'm going to engage him, and we did about 8,000. This is an interesting build for me. I honestly don't really know what build I want to run in the German battleship line. Their range is kind of crappy, but 20 is honestly pushing it for most battleship captains. It's just really difficult to be that accurate outside of that range. So I'm not really missing out on anything, just getting a little bit better rate of fire with the 420. I could use, is it the 406? I think it's 406, but 420 is pretty effective at doing damage to the enemy. Now I wanted to pull off the island. I didn't want to run into it as much as you would like to see me run into it. I'm going to try and support my team towards B point, which it appears has a couple enemy destroyers. At least one enemy Fletcher. Got to keep those guns hot. Otherwise, why even have the module? You know, it's kind of like the Yamato. The only issue with the Yamato is it turns so slow that a lot of times it's not because your guns can't fire on the target. It's because you're either angling your ship or the guns are rotating. That limits your ability to fire. And we actually do a little bit of damage on the Fletcher, which is good. He either decides to or feels threatened by the incoming rounds that he moves out of B. There's only one enemy in the point, and I'm sort of ready to go, sort of predicting that he'll turn back, maybe sit right on the edge to benefit from the capture. That was my feeling there. And we nick him, we overpin, not a lot of damage done. Now, the game has progressed to where my team has 2 bases to their 1 advantage. They don't have any ships in at B, other than the destroyers, which can hide, and I don't want to be anywhere near a destroyer, clearly. So I'm left to engage targets at near maximum range, and I was setting up on the Mogami, but he was being influenced by the friendly aircraft carrier's attack. Instead, I choose to fire at the Amagi, and we catch sight of the Fletcher as he moves towards C point. I wish I could fire on him, but we should land on the naked Of course, we didn't hit the Amagi. Being naked is bad, Amagi. Okay? I know. But I like the iron look. It looks good. You're just missing out on a lot. And he's either got the A hull or the B hull. Yeah, he must have just gotten that ship 5 or 10 battles ago. I'm going to continue to fire on him. He's just barely inside my range. One destroyer went to C point. The other destroyer went to A point. And he's just barely outside of my secondary range, and he disappears, of course. Most of the enemy is concentrated in the northern sector of A. They are basically outside of my range, basically outside of their range. All I can do is try and work on any battleship or destroyer that might show up. The friendly aircraft carrier is in trouble, and it looks like, exactly as predicted, the destroyer continued on to go and capture A. And ooh, we get a citadel. Nice, nice. 3 regular pin and 1 citadel. That's pretty good damage on the target. Somewhere in the realm of 20,000, maybe, give or take. Now, I could continue forward, try and attack C, but it doesn't look like I'm going to benefit from the Benson. If you've ever tried to go against a destroyer in a battleship, it's not fun. So I decide, instead of continuing forward, I'm going to shadow the Benson, enhance his power. We're not in a division. There's nobody in a division on either side. I just felt like I'm going to be stronger by supporting him, and he will be stronger with my support. There was no other reason for me to decide to turn, other than I can't afford to be by myself, and he can't afford to be by himself. It makes sense. It's logical. So we're going to move towards B, it appears. And I get a nice broadside on a Bismarck, and he can't benefit from his secondaries at that range, so I fire on him. I also noticed on the minimap that there's an enemy destroyer that is fairly close to my friend. And I don't want to be in line of sight for the torpedoes, obviously. Enemy Mogami is also visible, but it looks like he's just quick enough that I can't outrun the island. Instead, I wanted to fire at the Fletcher, and the teammate, he popped a smoke, that's why he dropped off. Instead, we're going to fire at the Fletcher, and he didn't really move that fast, so oh yes, 4 overpin for 5,400 points of damage, and the secondaries can engage him. Not bad. And oh, a juicy Mogami broadside, give me all the damage. We are on fire. 1 fire. I'm fine with 1 fire. 2 fires is an issue. But 1 fire, I'm completely fine with that. So, rearming, ready to fire at the broadside. Whenever we're ready, the team is going to capture B point. And we miss out on citadels. From the Amagi is right in front of me. The last known position for the enemy destroyer at A point was at the edge, and it looks like he's just trying to run and get out of the area. Now, the nice thing about this position for me, even though I'm out in the open, most of the enemy team has run to the northwest side of the map, and the island is blocking their ability to engage me. So, I can be a little aggressive out in the open, and this Der Große shows his side, and there's only one thing you should do to a Der Große that shows her side: fire all guns. And we get 11,000 points of damage. Not bad. Secondaries are sort of touching the Bismarck, not doing any damage, of course, since we don't have manual secondaries. Gotta get a little closer to be accurate. The Mogami has continued pushing forward. Some enemy destroyer has started to engage me. We lost the friendly aircraft carrier to that destroyer. So I am just trying to wait and see, and yes, the guns, we're going to rotate to port. The Fletcher is close enough that I feel confident in actually hitting him. He should be a little bit farther away. This is definitely an easier shot than he is probably expecting. So I fire at the Fletcher, and it looks like we get 1 to disperse into him. Full damage, 4,400. Nice. The front guns are still rotating. We lose line of sight because he's popped his smoke. And rather than waste a gun cooldown, I was looking for a potential target in the Mogami or the Bismarck. I also decide to use my hydroacoustic. Now, why did I use my hydroacoustic there? Because there have been at least 2 destroyers spotted in the southeast side of the map. There is a danger that they will hurt me, and of course we miss the citadel. We miss everything. So I don't want to take the torpedoes. And oh, it looks like I am the attention of the CV. So I decide manual on the torpedoes. Of course, we're going to just absorb the dive bombs as they hit the ship. I should have had my aircraft up sooner. He is 1 tier lower than me, so the AA is going to be a little bit more effective than you would normally see. We got torpedoes from all sides. I have no idea how much are going to hit my ship. The most I need to do is try and take out the gearing. And oh yeah, more torpedoes from the destroyers. we're going to try and rush behind the island. Makes sense, we hit the gearing. We did pretty good damage to him, honestly. These destroyers, they just don't understand how dangerous it is for their ship to be within 10 kilometers of me. I put a lot of effort into predicting where a destroyer could go. He has to deal with the island. So I'm going to assume he's going to go right to the edge. We elevate the gun. We fire everything remaining. Will we hit the gearing? We do hit the gearing and we take him out. That was a huge mistake by the gearing. Now, will we get the same benefit from the Mogami or the Fletcher? Can we kill him off? You should never be that close. You need to make it as challenging as you possibly can to the battleship. I know I make mistakes just like that. There's just such a huge advantage when a destroyer is going up against a battleship. If he doesn't have the benefit of the destroyers around him, he is vulnerable to everything. Our team apparently has been able to successfully defend A. Maybe the destroyer bailed out and went for B. There's someone capturing B. The Mogami shows himself. I was considering finishing off the Io, but he was flooding out, and he does indeed die. So we just have to worry about taking out the Mogami. Now I elevate the gun slightly because it looks like he wants to bail out, right? And he fires his guns, we fire at him, we take him out. 25,000 points of damage. I was very happy with that. But I do fear the torpedo. So I'm going to try and turn away. He was showing a perfect broadside for a really long time. Maybe he dropped his torpedoes. And the Fletcher is indeed the target that is capturing B. And he's pretty low. He's honestly pretty easy for my team to take out. And that wouldn't be possible if he wasn't within 10 kilometers or 11 of my ship and I was able to hit a couple shots to help out. And yep, the Mogami, if we would have just continued on forward, Notser, we wouldn't have hit these torpedoes. Yeah, I know. So we're going to hit 1, 2, 3 torpedoes. And we're getting aircraft incoming. I set it as my primary, of course. We're flooding. I'm going to wait until the torpedo attacks are done. I will be taking dot damage, significant dot damage, but if I get flooded again, it's over. I'm dead. So it looks like we're going to take one in the nose, and we actually die to that alone. I thought the strategy was sound, but maybe I could have done a better job. I should not have taken the Mogami torpedoes. Honestly, my knowledge of the Japanese dictates that, hey, they can't send forward unless, of course, it's the Atago. So as long as I'm moving forward, and you never see him actually angle his ship with his butt facing forward a little bit, he can't hit me. I basically turned back into those torpedoes and took the damage that was not going to hit me if I would have just continued forward. It is a mistake, a critical mistake, and it might lead to our downfall. The enemy team has a 2-base-to-1 advantage. On my team, we do, however, have 2 destroyers to their 0. So the Fletcher can basically safely capture B point. He is detecting the Prince Eugen. My friendly Benson is kind of in trouble. Yeah, he's got to give ground. Otherwise, hydroacoustic is going to defeat him. Hydroacoustic for the German is something like 5-6 kilometers-ish, I believe. And if my math works out, he's probably 8 or 9 kilometers out. He's got to continue giving ground. I assume the Eugen does indeed want to detect the Benson. Now, the Iowa is a convenient ally because he can basically balance the cruiser in one salvo. He just has to deal with this island. And if I was the cruiser and I had knowledge that there was a battleship, I would do everything in my power to keep that island in between my cruiser and the battleship. And that appears to be what he tries to do. So the Iowa is aiming on the target. It sort of looks like he aimed his guns high. Yes, he's going after the Amagi in the background, who is almost showing a perfect broadside. This is the A hull or the B hull Amagi. And he does quite a bit of damage. Probably 1 citadel, if not 2. One more good salvo, and the Iowa could take him out. And I tell my friend, or I tell my teammate, you know what? I think torpedoes have been sent. I think Definitely torpedoes have been sent, and oh, here they come. He's going to take at least 2, maybe even a 3rd. He shot the Abagi, and his shells got to the target. He takes him out. Good job, Iowa. And I tell him as such. I mean, basically in 2 salvos, he took off 22,000 points of damage. We needed that to get the advantage in the game. The Prince Eugen is still progressing forward. He is aggressively pushing forward. He doesn't actually want to capture the base now. The friendly Iowa has to deal with aircraft, and he's a tier 9 as well. His AA protection is fantastic, but he's still going to get torpedoes out. And I don't think he's going to survive this. He's going to take 1. 2,300. Okay. Did he get lucky? I didn't see any fires or any flood, any dot or anything. Oh, he misses with the dive bomber. Wow. Oh, here comes a torpedo bomber. This could be the end for him. And I tell my team, hey, just give up, capture 3 bases, and run away. That's the best thing you could do. Oh, it looks like he's going to be able to turn inside of the torpedo and avoid it. He's still alive. But the Eugen could finish him off so easily. Maybe he has AP loaded. Fire at the Iowa. Take him out. The Iowa only has 1 gun facing the Eugen, and it looks like the Eugen might make a mistake here, showing a little bit too much side. Just a little too high. He is set on fire. The Iowa, for whatever reason, still has a heal, and he uses it. I don't think he could put the fire out, though. I think he's already used his damage control, so it will eventually kill him, I think. Oh, it doesn't help that the Eugen is trying to do as much damage as he possibly could do. The friendly Benson is also firing at the Prince Eugen. And now the Iowa has all guns faced towards the target. The Eugen is very thin. It looks like he avoided that shot. The Iowa fired again, and he missed again. Wow. And the Iowa is not going to get any more damage on the target. He's going to burn down. And it's going to be 2 versus 2. We have 3 bases to their 0, of course. I headed over to the Benson, and I was thinking to myself, boy, hydroacoustic would just devastate him, wouldn't it? It would reveal his position. He couldn't fire back because his smoke is blocking his own line of sight. That's sort of why the Loa Yang is so effective against enemy destroyers. And yeah, he absolutely is being detected by hydroacoustic. There's no way that the Prince Eugen is getting this accurate without the benefit of that. So he's basically just dead. The best thing he can try and do is maybe get out of the smoke, send torpedoes, and hope that he hits the target. But he didn't get that chance either. He blindly sent his torpedoes, and now the entire game rests on the shoulders of the friendly Fletcher, who's rocking the Halloween camo. He is smelling the enemy aircraft carrier, and he does indeed find him. And I tried to give him information about how many torpedo bombers attacked my ship and the Iowa. We basically wiped out a ton of aircraft between us, probably 40 or 50, give or take. So he's going to be really, really low, and it looked like he only had 1 on that squadron, which missed completely. Good luck hitting 1 torpedo on a destroyer. If the destroyer is paying attention and not asleep at the wheel, he'll be able to avoid it completely. And this is kind of dangerous. If he is hit by the Eugen, who is probably on an intercept course right now, that's the only hope. You cannot capture and win as the enemy team. They have to get the kill. The Fletcher sends out his torpedoes. Obviously, he wants to hit the Shokaku. But it's detected by the aircraft. The Shokaku, he's going to try and dodge it. We've got 22 seconds left in the match. The enemy has dive bombers. Oh man, if he hits these, it's going to be close. It's going to be tense. The Fletcher has to dodge. And he's not getting a lot of damage on the enemy aircraft carrier. There's really no chance that that guy's going to die before the match is over. And, oh, he missed his dive bombs. There's 1 more. There's no time left on the match, though. And that's how the game ended. That was a pretty tense, close match. It was enjoyable to be in the Der Große. Don't mind the million. That was from a mission. Got 2 kills. Devastating strike. 2,450 base XP. The Fletcher did a great job. The Iowa did a great job. The Benson did a great job. We really kept the team close when it was probably a loss outside of those 4 contributors. All the damage was an AP. We fired 464 secondaries, and we only hit less than 1,000 damage. Terrible without manual secondary. I hope you enjoyed this game. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you next time.